A season of lows. But for the Suns to rise again, they'll have to first deal with David Robinson and the San Antonio Spurs. Come along for the ride. It's a Western Conference doubleheader. The Suns and the Spurs, the Kings and the Sonics next on TNT. The Spurs were 33-8 in this building, the Alamo Dome, and tonight they'll host Charles Barkley and the Suns in their Western Conference opener as the NBA playoffs continue on TNT. Ernie Johnson at your service from Atlanta, joined once again tonight by Cheryl Miller and the Bullets' Chris Webber. Our playoff doubleheader with a distinct Western flavor tonight. The Suns and the Spurs from San Antonio, followed by the Western top seed, the Sonics, hosting Sacramento. Last night, gang, 3 out of the 4 road teams won. Let's talk about the champion Rockets going to the Forum, whipping the Lakers in Game 1.
I don't want to be the one to throw the first punch, but I just want you to know, you jumped out there, being from Michigan with the Lakers and everything. Houston, impressive win. They shot particularly, not well, 0 for 8 for Horry. I'll tell you right now, the Lakers are in trouble.
Yeah, but see, Nick let me down last night. He didn't have that good of a game. And,
yeah,
and
1
also,
out of 11, pal.
Yeah, that's all right. But also, we didn't, well, not we, but the Lakers, they didn't double team Akeem Olajuwon. You cannot do that. You cannot not double team Akeem, and that was the key last night.
Well, the key, do you guys hear that? It sounds like the wishing of a broom. I smell a sweet Lakers sweat.
Wow. Strong stuff from the divine Miss M.
I ain't say it, Magic.
Yeah. You two guys take it to the parking lot. I'll take it from here. Straight ahead, the Suns and the Spurs breaking the seal on a first-round best-of-5. The Admiral and the Chuckster, a couple of point guards named Johnson, and 3 guys working the game. Kevin Harlan, Quinn Buckner, Ian Eagle next.
Baby Ruth. Who can resist all that rich nougat and caramel? And all...
It's fiesta time in San Antonio. Over 400,000 line the streets to see parades and the sights like the Alamo. And for the Spurs, the Alamo Dome. Home to the Midwest Division champions who tonight host the Phoenix Suns in Game 1 of the best-of-5 first-round Western Conference playoffs. And a pleasant good evening, everyone, with Quinn Buckner. This is Kevin Harlan. Well, we know that the Phoenix Suns have a tough chore tonight against the Midwest Division champion San Antonio Spurs. 59 wins, Quinn Buckner. We know they can play in the regular season, but what about the playoffs?
Well, I think that's the question they've got to get answered, Kevin, because where they really struggled is I don't know, and I think what they have to find out, do they have the killer instinct, the passion? And David Robinson is the guy that leads that whole charge. He has many, many interests, and sometimes when you have diverse interests, you're not able to focus. I think this is David's time to show the world that he was embarrassed by Akeem Olajuwon, and he has the passion to be a champion.
Yeah, the criticism is he's soft, but you don't think he's that soft?
No, I don't think he's soft at all. I think he has had to learn the passion. He took the game up very late in his life, and sometimes when you do that, you don't have the same intensity, the same kind of competitiveness. But I think he has that now. His coach, old coach Larry Brown, now with the Indiana Pacers, tried to convince him he needed it. Bob Hill has convinced him he not only needs it, but he has to have it in order to be successful.
Well, the Phoenix Suns have got to have it in this series. They finished the regular season disappointing 41-41. The main culprits to the disappointing season, Quinn, a coaching change and a litany of injuries throughout the year.
Well, they just haven't been able to get their guys on the floor. It's been a big problem for them. When you look at the Phoenix Suns, you have Charles Barkley's been out, Danny Manning's been out, Kevin Johnson. But most importantly, tonight where they struggle, they lose Michael Finley, who has more minutes than anybody that they've ever played as a rookie. And that's important because Sean Elliott is going to be a problem for them on the offensive end of the court. That would have been Michael Finley's task. Without him, they have to come up with a makeshift lineup to guard Sean Elliott, who has become one of the outstanding players in the league.
So it sounds like what you're saying, a lot more questions than answers for both these two teams heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. The Suns have to try to figure out whether or not they can get through the injury situation. The Spurs are trying to figure out if they can be champions, and they've got to have the heart of a lion to do that.
All right, it's the San Antonio Spurs and the Phoenix Suns. We come back to the jam-packed Alamo Dome after this on TNT. Welcome to the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio, the Western Conference first round. The Spurs against the Phoenix Suns. Now let's take a look at our opening lineups. And for Phoenix tonight, taking the place of Michael Finley will be number 45, A.C. Green, flanked by Barkley and Hot Rod Williams. A big task against Robinson, Johnson, and Person in the backcourt. That's Wesley Person. His brother Chuck plays for the Spurs, who begin with Sean Elliott, Charles Smith, the former Knick, and, of course, the great David Robinson. Backcourt of Avery Johnson and Vinny Del Negro. Both those pair having a career year. Now with more, the third member of our TNT crew tonight, we welcome Ian Eagle.
Kevin, thank you very much. You know, the Spurs have fared very well in terms of injuries this year, but they could have the strangest injury in NBA history. Doc Rivers came down with a flu. He figured he caught a bug earlier in the week, Wednesday morning. Little did he know, a bug caught him. He was bit on the ear by a spider. He missed 4 practices. He lost 5 pounds. Doc Rivers says he's going to be able to play tonight. I just talked to him. That's the good news. Bad news, I don't know what happened to the spider. If there is any other news involving insects and injuries, I'll get it to you. Kevin?
Okay, Ian, thank you. A little an arachnophobia striking the San Antonio Spurs as you see Charles Barkley. And these two coaches have had some playoff experience in the past as they battle here tonight. There's Cotton Fitzsimmons, who has been known, Quinn Buckner, to pull a underdog role out from under the favorite. And tonight he'll go against Bob Hill, who won 62 games last year. He has won 59 this season.
Yeah, but both coaches know where they are now. This is the time. You got to have some energy now, Kevin. Playoff time. Cotton has been here many times. Bob Hill feels with David Robinson, the way he's approaching it emotionally, has the best team he's ever had here in San Antonio.
Referees tonight, Jess Kersey, Eddie F. Rush, and Nolan Fine. And we are underway from the Alamo City of San Antonio, Texas. Avery Johnson. He's played with a host of NBA teams. Gets it out to Sean Elliott for 2. Out of bounds.
Let's go.
And it will be Phoenix's ball.
They got what they wanted. The interesting thing that Phoenix is going to have to do, you talk about their defense, is whether or not they can play David Robinson one-on-one. If you do that the way the game is played today, you take away the three-point shooting that San Antonio has.
They need a good game from Hot Rod Williams.
That's the guy that's got to guard David Robinson.
Barkley puts the first 2 on the board for the Suns. Avery Johnson against Kevin Johnson. They got Smith on the post, playing the power, working into Barkley.
Well, I think that's a good move by Bob Hill. They're going to try to make Charles play defense against a taller Charles Smith. Charles Barkley doesn't have the height. Charles Smith, back in this Western Conference, looks to feel more comfortable playing here.
And he made a difference, too. Once he joined this team in the trade with the New York Knicks, they went 24-6. Wesley Person into Del Negro, who draws the foul. Del Negro and Person will be a nice matchup tonight. And they'll put Wesley Person at the free throw line. The first against Del Negro.
Well, both of these guys have to pull through for their team. Vinny Del Negro has played well for San Antonio, good jump shooter. But Wesley Person, the brother of Chuck Person, when he gets on a tear, for a while he was going averaging a little over 20 points a game. Averages over just under 13 as a rule. He spreads the defense. And that's what Phoenix doesn't have this year, having lost Dan Marley and Danny Ainge. They can't spread the defense when Charles is healthy and playing.
Wesley Person was in a slump, as Quinn said. Then he went to his brother, Chuck Person, who plays for the San Antonio Spurs. And Chuck said it's all in the mechanics. You're not shooting the way you should shoot. You have to follow through more. Chuck helping his brother Wesley.
Chuck is going to shoot the ball without a follow-through, so it doesn't matter to him.
David Robinson.
Yeah, but the play is made. Charles Smith is taking the ball to the paint. You've got to get a center or someone to get over there. That was where Charles picked up early in the backcourt and lost Charles Smith going back in the other direction.
Johnson and Johnson. Person over Del Negro.
That's the sign they wanted, to get Person off early.
Person's got 3, and Avery Johnson the other way. Elliott a small screen, and then he finally gets it working into A.C. Green. Now the double by Johnson inside to Avery Johnson and picked up by A.C. Green.
But a great defensive play by Hot Rod Williams, who Cotton Fitzsimmons said is the best big man defensively and offensively he's had on the floor.
Hot Rod inside and around David Robinson for 2.
And that's why they make the trade. He is a smart player, knows where to go, got a good pass and a finish over Robinson.
2 minutes gone, first quarter. Suns by 3. Charles Smith on Charles Barkley. And a whistle and a foul on Barkley. That's number 1.
But I think Charles is willing to take that challenge against Charles Smith all day long. Charles Smith's advantage is to be on the block, and Cotton Fitzsimmons knows that he would be much better playing Charles Smith out on the perimeter with Charles Barkley guarding him.
Robinson. Wesley Person has the rebound. Here comes Kevin Johnson, who can create as well as any point guard in the league.
He's just an outstanding player because he can shoot the ball so well.
On time he coughs it up. Here's a 3-on-1. Avery Johnson to Sean Elliott.
Such control. The key on any fast break is to make the defense play you, then find the open man, as Avery Johnson just did.
They put it down. 9-6 Phoenix.
I expect the tempo to be up. San Antonio wants it that way because Avery Johnson can handle it. But Kevin Johnson surely wants to push it up for Phoenix.
Sean Elliott with a nice take by Johnson. Inside and rejected by Charles Barkley.
He got away with goaltending.
Barkley. Knocked away by David Robinson. Picked up by Person for 3. Del Negro out of bounds.
Barkley got away with goaltending and traveling. I mean, this shot, you'll see all of a sudden the ball will get pushed up on the fast break. The key here is find the defensive man. Wesley Person is it. Draw him, then kick. Sean Elliott for the finish.
8.5 remaining in the first quarter. Kevin Johnson. And a foul called inside. Avery Johnson picks it up. That's his first.
One of the big concerns that Bob Hill had with Avery Johnson and Kevin Johnson, that matchup was Kevin Johnson has the ability to control the game as good as any guard, I don't think, with the ball. And if you get Avery Johnson having to defend against Kevin Johnson, if Avery Johnson gets into foul trouble, that really hurts the up-tempo game of the Spurs.
Kevin Johnson, Quinn, probably playing as good a basketball as he has played. Now, of course, he's had his injuries, and that is something that a lot of his critics continue to harp on. But when you get down to it, his game right now is about as good as it's been.
No, he's as solid a guard as you want. I mean, as a point guard, because he can find people and make jump shots, can spread the defense out with that ability.
Phoenix has their biggest lead, 11-6 over San Antonio. Del Negro double cover. Rebound by A.C. Green. Person.
Oh, they call offensive foul. Lower the shoulder.
Person picks up the foul.
He never complains about it. He'll turn the corner now. Does he push off a little bit? Yeah, he's locked up in there. And the officials felt there was a little push off early. And this is the officials trying to get control of this early. A lot of emotions involved in the game and want to make sure they call all the questionable ones early.
Robinson on Williams. That's a big key. And Robinson was defended well by Hot Rod Williams.
He was defended very well. He stayed down on the ground until he had to go up and made David Robinson take a shot over Williams.
Elliott on Green. Del Negro on Person. Smith on Barkley. A.C. Green. Robinson's got the rebound. The Spurs have missed 5 consecutive shots. David Robinson.
But they're getting good looks at it. They just have to keep taking shots. They'll get good looks.
Green at the other end, and he's fouled as he takes it inside.
Now, one of the things you get with A.C. Green is even though Michael Finley is active and a good rebounder, obviously A.C. Green, having played with the Lakers and won some championships there, you get some experience. But off the glass, he's as good as anybody the Suns have, and he'll push it up just as he did then and draw the foul on Robinson.
We may see, in fact, defense by committee. Green may begin the game against Sean Elliott, and Cotton Fitzsimmons may go to his bench and pick up somebody else.
Yeah, well, Cotton knows he's got to be creative, not having lost Michael Finley. And A.C. Green is one of the guys he talked about. He may try Elliott Perry in the game. Kevin Johnson will then go on Sean Elliott.
Suns by 6. Make it 7. 6-0 run by Phoenix. The San Antonio Spurs have missed their last 6 shots.
They've been good looks. So they're getting where they need to go. The Suns don't have a shot blocker because David Robinson forces John Williams to stay on him. So the Spurs have to take the ball to the basket.
Quick double team on Kevin Johnson. Shot clock at 10 for Hot Rod Williams.
Bad decision by John Williams. He's got to shoot the jump shot. No way David Robinson would have got to that one. Good charge.
So far, Phoenix is shooting 57%. Foul on Hot Rod Williams. 13-8, the Phoenix Suns.
For a half hour every Sunday morning, we'll look at the world a little differently. Pro Golf Weekly, Sunday on CNN.
You talk about two of the outstanding players in professional basketball. Charles Barkley on Dream Team 3 here with Kevin Johnson. A little two-man game. If Kevin can beat Avery Johnson, he takes him. If not, here's a good option. You can go back out to Charles Barkley, who knocks down his first jump shot in the game, give himself and his team some confidence, because Charles didn't play the last 4 or 5 games of the season trying to get healthy. You see he's in the groove.
So to speak, yeah. Suns by 5. They've led by as many as 7. Avery Johnson got a screen from Smith. Shot clock is at 7. Avery Johnson, rebound by Hot Rod Williams.
He got where he wanted to go. He's just got to finish that one.
Quick pocketed by Elliott. Ahead it goes to Avery Johnson, who crawls by Williams.
Favorite move when he comes down on a big player. If he's on the right-hand side, he'll use that rim to protect himself from the block.
Halfway through the first quarter, the Spurs have cut the Suns' lead down to 3. Nice pass to A.C. Green. Green's got 4. Sean Elliott slithering down the baseline.
That's what he gets away with. See, with Michael Finley, that's a tougher play. But Sean Elliott, I think, has got so much more confidence. After he went to Detroit and came back, he got traded there, came back, did not like being a part of that circumstance, and he's playing with a lot of confidence, settled in.
Wesley Person, who since given the green light by Cotton Fitzsimmons to shoot, has taken advantage of it, and he leads all scorers with 5. Charles Smith on Charles Barkley again. The double by Johnson, the kick out to Del Negro. Little two-man game.
Yeah, but this is a lot of effort to have to score points. This is hard to score.
Shot clock at 3, and they finally get the 2 inside.
The agility, the smarts of David Robinson. Seeing himself being overplayed by Hot Rod Williams, cutting back door, get the layup.
Robinson had missed his last 3 before he gets his 4th point there. Suns by 3. Wesley Person. A.C. Green shoved inside. I'll call as we see Chuck Person get in the game for the first time. We talked to Bob Hill, the San Antonio coach, today, and he said that Chuck Person is probably in basketball heaven here in the Alamo City.
Well, Chuck feels very good about where he is. He played in Indiana where Bob Hill coached him, and then he went to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves situation did not work, and he got traded here. There are a lot of guys that feel like they've been rejuvenated having come here, Chuck Person being one of them, Doc Rivers. Vinny Del Negro played in Europe and has come back and is really doing well.
Avery Johnson,
the same kind of thing. As you take a look,
Michael Finley, who's got the sprained ankle that he suffered on the last game of the season.
How about the guy that goes 82 games and like the third quarter of the last game against Houston, where you both establish where you are in the playoffs, and hurts himself, and then it's going to hurt the Suns and their chances.
Del Negro to Avery Johnson. Great ball rotation to Sean Elliott. He's got 2 in a row.
Well, that's what makes the play, is the ball rotation, is the ball movement you talked about, because the defense is always trying to recover, and Sean Elliott is quick enough to take advantage of that.
Quick double down on Kevin Johnson. Person's on Barkley. Barkley likes this matchup.
Oh, he knows that he can take Chuck Person. Great rebound by Barkley. Another one by Barkley.
technical foul call.
Well, the technical is appropriate because Charles went at the official much too aggressively. Did not touch him, but went after him too aggressively. And Charles' complaint is that he got hammered twice. And what he's got to be careful of here is that his emotions don't get carried away. He's over here got a little chuckle on his face. You'll see right here, he thought he got fouled here. Now he'll go get this rebound, which I thought it was a little aggressive, and he goes back in and there's nothing called. And then right here, there's a foul call, and I think the foul call is right, but Charles is much too aggressive going at the official appropriately. Nolan Fine nails him with a technical.
Del Negro 83% from the line. Fans on the shot. Suns still by 3.
Part of what was going on there with Charles, just like with everybody else, making a statement. Guys, I'm going here, I'm playing hard, call the foul. He wants to let the officials know he's involved in this game and trying to get whatever sentiment he can draw to his favor.
Trying to set the tone for the series.
Well, he has to set the tone for his team in any form or fashion he can, because they just have not played together enough to know what they can really do. So there's some concern about how well they'll do.
Will Perdue will check in for Sean Elliott, and they have thought that Will Perdue, along with Tisdale now coming in for the Phoenix Suns. So they get 2 new bodies down low for both teams. That should be a nice matchup. Tisdale against Perdue.
Perdue was a good pickup for San Antonio. You think of this is the trade that involved Dennis Rodman going to Chicago. It's a good pickup for San Antonio because they feel they have a guy 7 feet, can run the floor, can play good post defense, knows how to move the basketball, and is on time, as you listen to the Spurs explain.
Barkley's got 3. San Antonio's taken 1 free throw. The Phoenix Suns have taken 10 free throw shots already. Robinson into Williams. That time he beat him.
He's so long and agile that and footwork is good. That Hot Rod made him do the right thing over the top, but David can do it without hardly jumping.
Kevin Johnson so far with just a couple.
That's a basket.
Here's Kevin Johnson.
That's a rare miss because of wide open jump shots he doesn't normally miss.
Good rebound by Perdue, who averages about 6 every 20 minutes. Chuck Person. And Barkley comes out of no place for the rebound. He's got 3.
That was a fierce rebound with Person and Johnson having it in their hands.
Both teams shooting about 50% in the first quarter so far. Without Del Negro on Person. Robinson's on Barkley.
He traveled. Just curses all over. He traveled. Had David Robinson, and Robinson does a good job taking away the baseline. But Robinson, Robinson goes down because he thinks he's established position. Charles stops so the official doesn't call it. And you see the extra little step there. They call it traveling.
That's the 5th turnover for Phoenix. San Antonio's got 1. David Robinson so far in the game with 6 points and a rebound. Williams and Robinson. One of the key matchups tonight. A foul called on Hot Rod Williams. That's the second on Hot Rod, trying to guard David Robinson. 20-18, the Suns by 2.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
Okay. You get a chance to look at the good ball movement on the part of San Antonio. The ball will come down. You see right here, they get it in position. Charles Barkley does a good job. Kevin Johnson comes to help out. Now, when he comes to do that, Charles Barkley lets him out. Now, you can see there's the shot clock there, but watch David Robinson after this ball is moved. The ball will get a chance to be moved out of there, and then you'll see how San Antonio makes plays. They become a very good team, understanding what needs to be done. You see David Robinson catch Hot Rod Williams looking the wrong way. Shot clock was running down. David Robinson got a layup. That time got fouled before the timeout, shooting 2 foul shots right here.
Glenn, you said something in the open about a diverse individual being David Robinson. Family man, musician, very active in his church, obviously a great basketball player.
He's a guy with diverse interests. There are a lot of basketball players. A lot of us just basketball is kind of what we do. For David Robinson, he just has so many. He plays the piano, he plays the saxophone. A lot of us have, been fathers and the other thing. The question is whether or not the passion is there, and I believe he's starting to get that.
Tisdale missed it. San Antonio the other way. We're in the midst of our second time. 20 apiece, 2.5 to play in the first quarter. A little foul on newly instated Danny Manning.
What Danny Manning fouled that time was because he was out there on that play, and as Avery Johnson, we got Johnson and Johnson, moved away from the basket, he wanted to foul him just to set up on the defensive end.
Person, Purdue, Avery Johnson, Doc Rivers, and David Robinson against Manning and doubled by Tisdale.
Oh, good find.
What a pass by Avery Johnson. And Will Purdue gets 2.
The ability to find is so important. Avery Johnson finds Will Purdue because they will have to double team with Danny Manning covering David Robinson.
This is San Antonio's second lead. They led 4-3. They lead by 2. Tisdale trying to tie another rebound for Robinson, his third. Doc Rivers knocked away and picked up by Barkley and held by Chuck Person. Well, later tonight on TNT, the second game of the doubleheader. Can Seattle share their recent playoff blues? The NBA playoffs continue next on TNT. The Supersonics host the Sacramento Kings. Game number 1 of their best-of-5 series. Join Dick Stockton, Chuck Daly, and Dick Versage for all the action next.
You think about Seattle, the thing that they've got going for them. You talk to them. Hershey Hawkins brings them a very settling influence at that shooting guard position. They make the trade with Kendall Gill, and nothing against Kendall, but Hawk can shoot the ball. He just accepts what comes to him, and I think that helps settle Seattle down.
And a very nice locker room presence too for the Sonics.
Well, he's an easy locker room presence. He doesn't try to gather any kind of attention, and that's important.
There's Charles Smith. He's had an assortment of injuries this season as well. Avery Johnson.
Yeah, he's able to go to the basket. That's for a back injury. When you have to lie down like that, it's because generally your back is sore when you sit down. So this is a way to kind of support it on the ground.
The Suns have shot 40%. Tisdale, who's dynamite inside the block, but tough in the circle. With the miss, and Barkley can't slide and get it.
Well, you can see the effort by Charles Barkley in trying to get his teammates to get involved in the same thing, too, because I thought that Tisdale should have got this ball, but Charles gets it here, then he knocks it there, and then goes tumbling out of bounds. His team has got to do those kind of things for the loose ball to have some success.
Spurs are shooting 52%. Manning fouls Robinson. That's a tough matchup. As they have taken Hot Rod out, he's got 2 fouls, and Manning picks up his second. He fouled the point guard on the perimeter. Now he fouls Robinson inside.
David Robinson he's hard to handle. I mean, he's 7'1", 7'2", but very active. That's illegal defense, and you can hear a lot of help by Bob.
How about someone was in back of us here for a second?
No, if your man goes through, you have to go from one side of the lane to the other. Kevin Johnson didn't do that, waited on David Robinson. That's why they make that call.
David Robinson, who can shoot outside as well as inside, comes up with his 10th point and his 3rd consecutive hit from the field.
The one thing the Spurs have done a good job of doing is keeping Charles Barkley out of the offense for the most part. He normally dominates the offense of the Suns, and he hadn't been able to do that. They're down 4 points here.
Barkley's got 5, 1 of 4 from the field.
He usually handles the ball almost at least every 3rd trip, because Barkley usually handled the basketball.
Here's Kevin Johnson. Robinson picked up his 2nd foul. I told you about the substitutions for the Phoenix Suns. Tisdale is in, Manning is in. Hot Rod Williams is on the bench, and Hot Rod has ice on that right knee. We know about the hand injury, which he hurt and missed 4 of the last 6 regular season games. Now he seems to have some problems with that right leg.
Well, he may be having a little bit of tendinitis, which is basically something you get from an inflamed knee, a little bit from overuse as much as anything. Hot Rod's played a lot of years in this business, so that's probably what that is for. You can still play with it, though.
He had some nerve irritation in the leg earlier this season. Hot Rod Williams did. 8 seconds to shoot.
See, this is what not having David Robinson does to your team. You got your point guard having to keep the ball in his hand too much. Phoenix has got to try to take advantage of this time.
Avery Johnson's got it. He's hit 4 in a row. Danny Manning with a nice move into Charles Smith.
Well, he's over the top of Chuck Person. Person can't guard Danny Manning. Person has been made into a, if you will, a 4, the power forward position. Bench presses 350, likes the challenge, but he just doesn't have enough size to guard Danny Manning.
But has the mentality to. We're down to 7 to shoot, 10 to play in the first quarter. Person for 3. Will Purdue keeps it alive. Charles Smith tries to finish it off. Final seconds of the quarter. Wesley Person with the heave.
That looked like a shot from the old days.
The Phoenix Suns led by 7. They trail by 2 at the end of 1. Spurs shot 52%, down by 7. They lead by 2 at the end of 1. Let's go to our sideline reporter, Ian Eagle.
All right, Kevin, I just checked in with the Phoenix Suns trainer. Nothing serious on Hot Rod Williams. Just some precautionary ice being put on that left knee. Hot Rod will return, and they are expecting him to try and contain David Robinson. Cotton wants them to work a little bit harder on the boards. Back to you.
Williams had nerve irritation in the right leg earlier in the season, missed 10 games because of it. Elliott Perry, who finished the regular season with 35 points in Houston with the miss. Here come the Spurs. We begin the second quarter. San Antonio on top, 28-26, with Quinn Buckner and Ian Eagle Kevin Harlan. As Chuck Person nails 1 from 3, giving the Spurs their biggest lead.
Well, that's the first three-pointer that's been made in the game. You think of the Phoenix team, normally a great three-point shooting team, down 600 shots from last year. Lost Danny Ainge and Dan Marley. They're outside threat, so they don't get them. But San Antonio's gone up. They shoot a great deal of them now.
Barkley, who's played every second so far, comes up with his 7th point of the game. Doc Rivers played many years with Atlanta, all-time Hawks assist leader. Played in New York, Los Angeles Clippers. Finishing his first full season in San Antonio, although he joined the team late last season. Smith works into Chuck Person.
That's what I talked about with San Antonio and Phoenix. Phoenix would prefer Charles to have to play Charles Barkley to have to play Charles Smith out on the perimeter, because Charles Barkley has got more ability to cover out there on Charles Smith.
Barkley into Smith again. Perry kicks it back into Barkley. Tisdale fighting Purdue, and off of Tisdale's hands. Spurs have it.
See, with Kevin Johnson out of the game, you see how many times the ball goes to Barkley? I mean, they've got Wayman Tisdale, who's a good offensive player. They've got to figure out how to get some points out of other people. You'll wear Charles Barkley down.
Rivers. And a rebound, the 4th tonight by Charles Barkley. They got Manning down low, working on Chuck Person. Perry to Manning.
We talk about that's what they get with Manning. They can throw it over the top of Chuck Person, and he can get it. He's big enough that he can go and take the challenge that Will Purdue brings, and that's how Manning is able to be effective on the offensive side of the ball. Besides, he's a good passer and ball handler for the Suns, giving them a whole different dimension.
Vinny Del Negro. Shot clock at 4 as Del Negro double teamed. Can't hit the jump shot.
That's not Vinny,
by the Suns.
Yeah, but that's not Vinny's kind of shot. Vinny Del Negro is a catch and shoot person, not a guy that creates his own shot off the dribble.
So the style almost helps him more than the actual situation.
The style helps him tremendously.
Out of bounds. And a timeout, 9:26 in the second quarter. Spurs on top, 31-30.
You wonder how Charles Barkley at 6'5" gets good position. Watch his arm. Now watch the arm come back on the right. Right here, a little quick knock of the hip of Charles Smith threw him off balance, and Charles was able to get the ball up to the basket. Taking a little breather right now, but it's those kinds of tricks of the trade that's allowed him to stay in the league as long as he has, being the league's MVP. those kinds of things, just smart basketball play.
Interesting, though, you mentioned he's an MVP. David Robinson, an MVP, only 2 MVPs in the history of the NBA who have not won a championship.
You know, and I was with David Robinson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, all in Barcelona. That is the whole conversation. Guys talk about one another, kid around. If you haven't won a championship, you can't even get in the conversation.
Danny Manning won a championship at Kansas in college basketball, but never a pro with a nice tap, and he's got 6. Suns have the lead again, 32-31. Then led by 7 in the first quarter. 6-0 run by Phoenix. Elliott.
So he's the one guy that Phoenix, that's why Michael Finley's important. They don't have anybody on the floor, I think, to stop Sean Elliott when he makes up his mind to put it on the floor to go where he's going.
Here's where Tisdale is effective. Into Purdue. In the low post. Knocked away Charles Smith. Johnson.
Oh, good find.
In transition to Del Negro.
He got away with jumping in the air and finding him, but Del Negro was wise enough to know that my man is in trouble. I need to bail him out. And then he went to the basket and bailed Avery Johnson out for a jump pass.
And that's the style of play that makes Del Negro and Avery Johnson so effective.
Yeah, they understand what each other needs in order to be effective, and they help each other out in that regard.
Manning his first miss. Johnson, again the transitional pass and out of bounds, a little bit wide.
But that's a classic example of what we're talking about. Avery Johnson knows that that's where Vinny needs the ball, and that's why he's trying to throw it up to him. See, Wayman takes it here. 2 6'11" guys coming after him. See, he's quick enough to get it over Will Purdue, but he's not quick enough and tall enough to get it over Purdue and Smith.
Spurs have 4 turnovers. The Phoenix Suns have 5. Green working on Purdue. Shot clock at 9 for Wesley Person. The 3 no good. The rebound by Elliott, and here comes Avery Johnson.
Good defense by the Spurs. I think that's a questionable shot at best by Wesley with 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Suns +2 in rebounding. 14-12 over the Spurs. Shot clock now at 9. Avery Johnson across the lane. Out of bounds, Phoenix's ball.
Yeah, they have Avery Johnson on the right side of the court so he can get back to his left hand. That little hook, you're used to seeing big men take it. He feels comfortable taking that shot coming across the paint.
Barkley on the bench, and he's got 7. Play the entire first quarter, most of the second. Wesley Person inside.
Between Manning and Person, I think those are the 2 guys you take advantage of when you can offensively. Smith guarding Manning, and if you get a chance, oh, good look for it.
But Purdue couldn't catch it from Avery Johnson. Here comes Elliott Perry, 3-on-2. Wesley Person for 3.
Took too long to look at it. You could see him settling up too long.
Wesley Person now 0 of 4 from downtown. 7 minutes to play in the first half. Shot clock at 8. Del Negro doubled. Smith right into the teeth of the Phoenix defense. Will Purdue comes up.
The passing of the basketball. Charles Smith getting it to Will Purdue. Both of them knew this year for the Spurs that their ability to not only get open but find the open man is a critical part of why they want to try to win an NBA championship. Will Purdue is right here. He played on the championship teams in Chicago where they run the triple post offense. Now watch him come over and get in position. If he doesn't get the ball, it goes the other way. He's rolling out, and as he starts to go, Charles Smith sees him and makes a great pass, and you watch. That's 2 reactions by 2 guys who normally are not emotional on the basketball court. They bring energy, 6 rebounds a game, and great intelligence by Will Purdue. And I like the way Charles Smith is playing. He's playing freer. He's giving himself more to the team, and I think they're both pleased to be here in this position.
You just saw that Purdue is averaging 6 rebounds a game. He's already got 5, and there's Charles Smith and Doc Rivers talking. The interesting thing about Purdue, he only averages 17 minutes a game.
Yeah, but he's 7 feet tall, and he will go get the basketball. That was his charge as he played on the championship teams in Chicago. Go get the ball off the glass, be solid defensively, and he brought that play here.
He only learned well then, didn't
he? He had some good teaching, but
yes, he did.
That number 23 there is not bad.
7 to shoot for Manning. Elliott Perry by Avery Johnson. Perry gets his first 2. Spurs shooting 53%. Del Negro, that's his shot.
But not only is his shot, I tell you, even more important than that, David Robinson had 2 timeouts. He went out with a minute to go in the first quarter, and he's still sitting down, and his team is up 4 points. That's something that Bob Hill has to be pleased with his starter sitting on the side.
And we're halfway through the second quarter. Manning over Sean Elliott, rebound by Vinny Del Negro, and here they come again. Transition defense, he thought before the game, key for Phoenix.
For both teams, because they both want to run up and down, and they run on makes, so it's really important to get back.
Another pass inside for Purdue, this time courtesy of Chuck Person.
I tell you, the people in Indiana that used to watch Chuck Person and said, I don't recall that Chuck Person making passes like that.
Spurs' biggest lead of 6. Elliott Perry again.
Yeah, but you got your point guard with the ball too long, taking jump shots. That's not very good for your offense.
Wesley Person has not hit a 3 all night long. He has missed 5 in the first half. 5 minutes in the second quarter. Suns led by 7. Now they trail by 6.
Now Danny Manning trying to guard Avery Johnson. Wants to go left. That's his 3rd foul. Danny Manning just picked up his 3rd foul, and you have to go back and think about the one you talked about. The first one when he fouled Avery Johnson out away from the basket. A guy they were counting on to bring them some numbers, help him a little bit with moving the ball. Danny Manning has picked up his 3rd foul here in the second quarter.
And with Michael Finley out, they need Manning to play.
Because he's versatile. He gives the team versatility.
Robinson is back in for the Spurs. Del Negro. Sean Elliott for 3.
You don't want to leave him. This is the kind of field that they like to have.
The Spurs are on a 14-4 run. 11 points for Sean Elliott. He averages 20 a game. There's Joe Klein. First time he's played since April 14th when he fainted. Charles Barkley. Rebound by Klein.
He traveled. He had it right away. He got bumped a little, but he traveled. He should have just gone up strong.
Both teams with 6 turnovers. Avery Johnson, who's played for the Spurs 3 different times, throws it into David Robinson.
That was a smart play by the Spurs. You've got the Suns on the run, if you will. You got them in trouble. You got David Robinson back in the game, put him down on the block, and force the defense to have to guard him, because as you see, he and Sean Elliott, 3rd in the league, combination of scoring 45 points.
Del Negro took it right into the thicket of Phoenix defenders, and a foul called on Wesley Person. Person's got 2. And here's Vinny Del Negro, whose father, Vin Del Negro, played at the University of Kentucky for the legendary coach Adolph Rupp.
Been a great addition. You talk to Bob Hill about guys that have really come along. Vinny Del Negro has been one of those players. As you look at our lineup on Saturday.
Full slate of NBA playoff action. New York visits Cleveland at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's on NBC, followed by Houston at Los Angeles. Next TNT doubleheader. Atlanta will take on Indiana, followed by Portland at Utah. All tomorrow. The Spurs lead by 10. This is their biggest lead in the second quarter.
Get real.
Who's now in his 3rd stint as the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, taking over in January for Paul Westphal. You can see the records, 4-15 against the West. 104 points allowed, but look at that missed NBA high, 296, and tonight 297 games because of Michael Finley being out. That led the league in player games missed. Barkley shoved inside. They won't count the 2, but they'll send Barkley to the line.
No, I don't know if they want it. Did they give him 2-shot foul here? They give him the 1 in the bonus, but they're not going to give, right. What they were trying to get with Phoenix was the goaltending on the play, because Charles Barkley knew he was going to get fouled and tried to throw the ball up to ensure that he could get 2 shots.
Sean Elliott checks out. So now the Spurs with Purdue, Del Negro.
They're not in the penalty. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not in the penalty. That's why Charles tried to throw the ball up so he could get 2 foul shots, because they're not in the penalty, so he doesn't get the bonus.
3:50 in the second.
They got to go double here because there's no Chuck Person can't guard that.
A.C. Green.
That may help stretch out the defense because Phoenix just doesn't have enough shooters otherwise, and it's easier to double Charles Barkley when you're not coming from the three-point range to double team.
Avery Johnson, shot clock at 8. Robinson picked up by Klein. Avery Johnson will fire. Barkley with another rebound. He has gobbled up 7 in the first half. Out of bounds and off the Spurs.
But only because of good effort by Ben Del Negro.
Coming up on the Reebok halftime report, Emmett Johnson, Cheryl Miller, and guest Chris Webber on highlights of Game 1 between Detroit and Orlando. Dick Stockton and Chuck Daly will have reports from Seattle as they prepare for the Sonics and the Kings. Coming up right after this.
You know, the one thing that Cotton Fitzsimmons is looking at here, his team is playing against an outstanding defensive team. 3rd in the league in the opponent field goal percentage, 43%. That's what happened at that particular play. Good defense on the inbounding pass forced A.C. Green to have to take that 20-second timeout to keep the Suns from losing the basketball on the inbound.
But Scotton told us before the game, he said, defense is key come playoff time. Got to cover guys.
You can play all the offense you want during the regular season, but when it comes down to the playoff time, defense wins championships. I don't care how you cut it. The Suns are shooting 37%, and that's because of good defense by the Spurs.
Barkley threw it away. David Robinson to Avery Johnson.
Now, Barkley threw it away. David Robinson made a great play.
Del Negro. He's got 7.
Joe Klein is going to have to look at that shot. If they're going to rotate off of him, Joe is not a great shooter. He's got to look at that shot, or they're going to have to take him out of the game.
Here comes Barkley working into Robinson. Kicks it out to A.C. Green with 2 seconds to shoot. Rebound by Will Purdue.
Purdue and Robinson on the floor. You have very little chance to penetrate, forcing jump shots being missed by Phoenix.
Del Negro again. Vinny Del Negro's got 9.
They got to get to him if he's at three-point range. He's hot.
San Antonio's got their biggest lead. Del Negro's hit 4 in a row.
Vinny Del Negro, we talked about it. They go after makes and misses. When Del Negro gets a chance to get in position, you see right now his hands are up looking for the ball, and Avery Johnson knows it. And Avery was, as though was going to the basket, forced Kevin Johnson to have to run a further distance than he would like. Will Purdue signals the 3. Watch, like see Kevin Johnson trying to get back. He knows that's where it's going to go. He's got to get up there quicker, force Del Negro to put the ball on the floor. The man has just made 2 3-point shots.
You know, here are 2 players that have bounced around a little bit. Del Negro has played overseas, initially drafted 2nd round by the Sacramento Kings. But he comes here and for 4 consecutive years has seen his scoring increase year to year.
Well, you know, his scoring has increased because he's had a chance to play more minutes. I think that helps to a great degree.
And the style thing you talked about earlier.
And the style helps. There have only been a few players. The last player to do it most recently is Derek Harper. If you take a look at a guy that can't help but surely would love to help the Phoenix Suns, Michael Finley.
There's Vinny Del Negro. And Avery Johnson is as great a story as Del Negro is, because Avery Johnson, 3rd time now with the San Antonio Spurs. Avery Johnson was brought back at the big suggestion of David Robinson. They let him go, and Robinson said, hey, here's a guy that I think can really do good things for us.
It was partially David Robinson. The other part of this is that the director of vice president of basketball operations, Greg Popovich, had Avery Johnson when Avery played at Golden State. And that's between one of the stints that Avery had here with the Spurs was Golden State. So he knew that Avery Johnson was a guy they wanted to have on the team as well. But it helps when your star says go get someone too.
Well, on top of that, Johnson was at Robinson's wedding. Barkley into Robinson and Chuck Person, and a foul called on Chuck Person.
Clearly out of that timeout, Cotton said, let's get the ball into Charles and just see can we get to the foul line or get a basket or something.
Person's got 2 fouls in the game. There's Charles Barkley, and Quinn, you know him about as well as anyone. What's his timetable? He wants to play another couple of years, or is he looking at retirement?
Well, I think he said it pretty well when he acknowledged the honor of making Green Team 3, that it'll keep him in shape during the offseason. His big problem has been he does not like to work out in the summers. Green Team 3 obviously takes care of that problem, and now he'll be in shape. So I think he wants to play a couple of more years. The career average double-double, the MVP 92-93, 10-time All-Star. There's no question about his ability to play. But his label will be the same as David Robinson and anyone else. If you don't win a championship, you can basically say your career is not fulfilled. I didn't say not fulfilling, it's not fulfilled.
For the player.
For the player.
Barkley's got 9. It's going to Purdue. They've been beating them all night with that play.
That's a pinpoint pass through traffic. Excellent pass. And great hands for a big man.
Will Purdue has come off the bench, 9 points, 6 rebounds. Manning back in, playing with 3 fouls. Rebound by Chuck Person. Here come the San Antonio Spurs. Avery Johnson to Purdue again.
Oh, he just picked up his 4th foul. Cotton Fitzsimmons was so desperate for offense, he put Danny Manning back in the game with 3 fouls. Danny Manning missed a shot, come down, the ball gets pushed up, and Will Purdue has gotten himself in position right here, gets open, and that's a pass. That's a tough pass to make. Good hands and a finish by Purdue. But again, hustling down court, in the air, get open. Danny Manning reach in, too late a foul.
Purdue misses the free throw. He's only averaging 5 points a game. Tonight he's got 11. Green.
David Robinson covering up the basket.
Robinson. Green has it. 1 minute remaining in the first half. Wesley Person. Del Negro got up on him quickly.
Wesley Person has missed 2 3-point shots. He's a little gun shy out there now, which he should be.
Takes it inside with a nice hook off the block. Comes up with his 8th point. Before that, he had missed 3 in a row.
They've got to be ready to double team because David Robinson is being guarded by Danny Manning. So there's no way to guard him. With 4 fouls, you can't run the risk of doing anything to foul him.
Robinson's got 12.
Kevin Johnson with the ball right here. Got the handle, if you will, as they called it, was a little suspect there, and Avery Johnson bellies up, solid in the defense position.
Kevin Johnson hits from outside.
Quick shot, try to get 2 is a thought there. Kevin Johnson tries to get it.
Avery Johnson.
And so San Antonio has a chance to do the same thing. Now you bring it out. They take a 20-second timeout. This is what they're trying to do. Shot clock gets around 38, 35 seconds. You get it down where you can get a shot up, force the other team to have to come take one, and you can get the last shot of the particular period. Here we're looking at the end of the first half.
You were talking before, no one is there to guard David Robinson. Hot Rod Williams has not seen a great deal of time. He started, but he only played 9 minutes in the first quarter. We haven't seen him since.
Well, we've got to wonder if that knee is bothering him some. He's had some problem with not only the knee, he's had the hand problem. The knee is still being iced. So you're playing with a much smaller lineup, not nearly as good defensively as it would be with Hot Rod Williams in the game.
We talked to Ian Eagle moments ago, and he said there is no change in Hot Rod Williams, a former Cleveland Cavalier who got glowing praise from Cotton Fitzsimmons. Now here's Danny Manning in foul trouble. That is a player that is taking Hot Rod's place. Coming up right after this, the Kings and the Sonics. Gary Payton, perhaps the defensive player of the year in the NBA, along with Sean Kemp against Mitch Richmond and the Kings, Dick Stockton, Chuck Daly, and Dick Versace.
Remember, Sean Kemp's not playing in this game because he's been suspended. But you're talking about an answer. This is a team that has a lot of questions at Seattle.
Charles Smith.
That's a foul on Purdue. He pushed Danny Manning in the back.
That's the first on Purdue.
Yeah, he pushed him in the back. But you think about the Seattle team. This is a team that has the best record, you know, outside of the Chicago Bulls. And without the Bulls having this 72-game win season, you'll be talking as much about Sacramento as you would San Antonio or the Bulls. But yet they still have something to prove, having 2 first-round knockouts the last 2 playoffs.
Danny Manning, who interestingly enough has a very close relative who's on the San Antonio Spurs scouting staff.
About as close as you can get. His father, Ed Manning, is a scout for the San Antonio Spurs and has been here many years. Former ABA player, played with Larry Brown. That's how he got in the Spurs system.
They've got 3 seconds.
Plenty of time.
Del Negro.
Plenty of time. 3 seconds, the length of the court.
Del Negro finishes the half.
One of the things that I'm always looking for.
You're always big into the feet.
Oh, yeah.
Robinson with 12. Then you see another big man up front, Purdue with 11. Del Negro caught fire in the second quarter. Sean Elliott a steady 11 points as well. Hot Rod Williams comes back out for the Phoenix Suns to begin the second half.
Well, Kevin, in any team, you got to have the ability to have other people step up if you're talking about winning a championship, because no one player can consistently carry you. That's been a problem that the Spurs have had to overcome, and it's one that the Suns have to overcome. Hot Rod has got to play more minutes for more productively, but I think most importantly, Kevin Johnson has got to get much more offensive-minded. He only had 3 shots.
Alley-oop for Charles Barkley with a nice feed from Kevin Johnson. Barkley with 11. Williams again on Robinson. Got a hand on it, but it didn't matter.
See, when David Robinson first came in the league, he didn't have those kind of moves. When David Robinson first came in the league, he has admitted that he was not an offensive player. He was taller and he was quicker than most centers. He has now learned to become a better offensive player.
Once again in for Barkley, who was picked up by Smith. And a foul called on Charles Smith.
Charles Barkley trying to get a little basket 3-point. Look at, he's laughing because he tried to say that he had the shot going up when he got fouled, and the officials appropriately told him no, it was before the shot.
Then no Michael Finley tonight for the Phoenix Suns, injured. That is sent Cotton Fitzsimmons to his bench. Ball rotation goes to Hot Rod Williams. Out a bit high, and they get it out to Wesley Person. Back to Hot Rod. Here come the Spurs.
A good defensive game. See, that's what gives them the break opportunity.
Del Negro.
Block shot. Don't come up with the rebound to the Suns, and it gets pushed up. And they get the basket on the other end because the Spurs play solid defense, including the block on the possible dunk by Hot Rod Williams.
There's Kevin Johnson, who hits on the drive. Kevin Johnson takes just his 4th shot of the game.
Yeah, that's what I said. He took 3 at the half. He's got to get more shots. He's got to shoot. You don't like to see point guards shoot a lot. But for this team to win, the Suns, he's got to shoot the ball 18 times and get him about 10 or 12 assists as well.
Johnson was reaching in. The foul will be called on Hot Rod Williams.
The strength of Kevin Johnson is how clever he is. See, he's there. Johnson can't turn around. Sean Elliott has to do a better job of cutting KJ off. He doesn't, and allows KJ to get to the basket.
Robinson. You don't know where he's going to hit, but the Admiral usually sinks it.
You don't. What are we? You're getting some baby talk here? You just don't know where he's going to come from. I mean, he's become so versatile with the shot from the outside, the quickness.
Wesley Person the miss. Wesley Person in the game, Quinn, has been struggling as well. 3 of 10, and a lot of misses from above the arc.
Well, he made a couple of his early shots, and then he missed 2 3-point attempts. And since then, he's been reluctant to shoot the ball, and the Suns play best with this lineup when Wesley Person shoots the ball with great range.
Barkley's got 2. Kick it out to Del Negro. Robinson again over Williams, and he's just eating them alive.
You go to your star because they got a chance to. This is, you talk about the killer instinct. This is when you start burying a team. You've got them down, then you go just get them at every opportunity. You saw Bob Hill down on the other end. That ball goes out of bounds. He's got on a gray suit. I thought he was an official the way he's pointing for his team to get the ball to go in the other direction. And that's what Cotton Fitzsimmons is in Nolan Fine's ear about.
Suns are shooting 37%. Spurs 61%. That's 62%.
They're playing too well. The Suns can't beat this team playing this well.
Spurs have their biggest lead of 20 in the game. And a 20-second timeout.
This is as solid a basketball as you'll see. If you're open and you can take the ball to the basket, you take the ball to the basket, and then you make your play. That's what's really important. If you got a man to go to him. You give it to David Robinson. He gets the ball. He throws it back out, reestablish. Hot Rod tries to take him a turn away jump shot. There's not much Hot Rod can do. David Robinson with 2 of his 18.
The average is 25. He finished in the top 5 in 3 different categories as Kevin Johnson takes more of a role here in the second half.
Well, you go to talk about David Robinson. He just won the IBM Player of the Year award, which is a statistical compilation of everything you do, which means you're statistically one of the most outstanding players for your team. And that's why, because he rebounds, he defends, he's in block shots. He's like 15th in the league in steal.
The Spurs have not missed a shot in the third quarter. Del Negro with the 3. The Spurs 6 of 6 in the third from the field. Barkley over Robinson. They played volleyball, and here they come in a 2-on-1.
Lob.
Robinson's got 20. Hot Rod Williams comes up with 2.
Well, the Suns' biggest problem, they've got to get back and defend. I mean, you can score all day long. They have not defended well here, partially because Robinson is hot. But you've got to defend and give yourself a chance.
Great pass inside to Avery Johnson.
See, that's a middle lap, a mistake defensively that cost your team a basket. You can't do that. You can't hurt yourself like that.
Elliott with the assist. Evan Johnson again, the quick double. Hot Rod Williams, he's got 2 in a row, and he's fouled on his way to the rack.
You see the ball moves, the people are moving. They've got to, that's what you got to do. And you watch, that's what the Spurs are doing. Right there, the ball moved, the man moved, easy basket. This is an easy game when you play it that way. Back door, you overplay, go to the basket. You see the help coming again. Give it to the open man. Hot Rod switches to the left hand, puts it down.
Got the nickname Hot Rod as a youngster, riding his bike and a little scooter around his yard. And it's stuck ever since. Playing with a bad leg tonight and a bad right wrist and hand. Playing up against a bad player, David Robinson.
Against David Robinson. But that's the nature of this game. You got to come play. Nobody's giving you sympathy. This is the playoff.
Del Negro, a little hitch and a drive. They can't stop it.
There is no shot blocking. You're making jump shots, so people have to come out and guard you, as Vinny Del Negro has done. And when they come out to guard you, take it to the basket. And if there's no one there to stop you, keep going.
Hot Rod again into Robinson. Keeps it alive and finally ends up for Wesley Person for 3, and his first 3-point shot tonight after missing 2, 4, 6 of them earlier on.
Well, let's see if his confidence rises, gets him going on the defensive end, and then can ignite his team so they can get some baskets. Watch the pass.
Barkley with the shove from behind. That'll be his 3rd. The Spurs have led by 23. Up now, 77-58.
The NBA playoffs on TNT are brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And by Dutch Boy Paints. Give your home the lasting look of Dutch Boy.
make every day. Even as a kid, I had to make some hard decisions. I remember this gang was going to start a fight and wanted me to come with them. I was scared to say no.
Where you going, man? I'm going home. Come with us. Man.
But I was even more afraid of where I'd end up if I went along. Sometimes it's hard to stand alone. I know, because that's what I had to do.
Spurs on top 77-58. There was a story and a cover story, of course, this week on David Robinson in Sports Illustrated. That was the focus of our pregame talk about, is he too soft? Is he strong enough? Is there the heart of a champion inside David Robinson?
Well, I think there's the heart of a champion. I don't think there's any question about that. The soft label I don't buy. He's going to have a label until he wins a championship. What David Robinson has to be able to do is translate the ability to kill, to not only beat people, but to kill him. You know he can make plays like that. What he's got his team doing here is going for the kill. You got a team down 19 at this point. You've had them down 23. You bury them. You bury them. Now, that may sound like that's harsh, but the nature of playoff basketball is you have to do everything you can to try to demoralize the spirit of a team, even though this is only one game in the playoff series.
That same thing that so many critics have said is lacking in the Spurs is what Cotton Fitzsimmons is counting on for his shorthanded Phoenix Suns.
Well, he's got some guys that have been in great championship series. Hot Rod Williams, Charles Barkley, Kevin Johnson, A.C. Green. You got to remember, the Suns went to the finals with the Bulls, and the Bulls win their third championship against them. So they know how to get there, but they've got to make sure that they're not only the talent base, but they got to get the level of effort, and particularly on the defensive end.
Hot Rod Williams has 7 points in this third quarter. It's an 18-point game. Robinson, here's the dangerous Del Negro. Elliott.
Suns much more active defensively.
And they've got to be. Charles Smith to Robinson with 3 to shoot.
And that's the result of that activity. They've got to have great energy on the defensive end.
They've got to get a big game out of Kevin Johnson. Hot Rod picking up his game just a bit, but a miss right there and a rebound by Charles Smith.
That last possession, that ball had to be moved 6 times, and every time Phoenix recovered, they recovered under control, forcing David Robinson to take a tough shot. This time, Vinny just makes a difficult shot over the top of A.C. Green.
Del Negro's got 29 in the third quarter, and the Spurs, Quinn, shooting 64% from the field.
No, but prior to that, they were 9-9, and they had 8 assists on those baskets.
There's some defense by San Antonio. Sean Elliott will pick up the foul. That's his 4th. That could play into Phoenix's hand. They get him in some foul trouble.
Well, what I like about San Antonio, though, is they're not letting any easy baskets go. And then in playoff basketball, you make sure that you play aggressively without harming anyone. You don't let anybody go to the basket uncontested.
Chuck Person will join Del Negro, Smith, Robinson, and Avery Johnson.
So Chuck Person will give them a little bit more of a body, a three-point shooter. Not better than Sean Elliott, but he's just bigger, physically.
Chuck Person for 3.
That's what he does. He came in the league in Indiana. They call him the rifleman.
The Spurs have hit 4 3-point shots in the game. Their lead is 21. They've led by 23. 4:50 remaining, and a pickoff by Charles Smith.
He'll try to reward Charles Smith if he can.
He's made 9 straight, and that's his first miss in 10 shots. Del Negro had been on a tear. 9 in a row until that miss. Barkley. Knocked away by Robinson. This is shove inside.
He's trying to say goaltending, but the ball, I didn't think the ball got over the rim. And Charles Barkley is trying to get to it.
Here comes Will Perdue, who had a brilliant first half.
Well, he was active, and every time he got open, they got him the basketball. He had 11 points and 7 rebounds, and they're looking for Will Perdue because they know when he gets it inside, he knows how to finish.
A couple of those passes from Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson There's a playoff high 15 assists. Charles Barkley. Cotton Fitzsimmons took over in January for Paul Westphal. He's only had 4 full practices since he was taken over. He says with the ailments that hit people like Barkley and Hot Rod Williams and Danny Manning, he can't really practice as much as he'd like to.
No, he had a situation. They went away to practice while they were getting prepared for the playoffs, and they went for 2-a-days. Well, he went 2-a-days and then tried to practice hard on Tuesday, wanted to do it again on Wednesday, but the team is so fragile he couldn't do it. They've had too many injuries.
Robinson took it across, and they call a shove inside. On the Suns, it's on Wayman Tisdale, who just checked in the game.
This is what it's come down to for Cotton Fitzsimmons. Wayman Tisdale, a very good offensive player, not known to be for his defensive attributes. He's guarding David Robinson. But the thinking is very simple. We've got to double team David Robinson anyway. So as soon as he gets it, Kevin Johnson is coming right after it. And then you force them to make plays.
Del Negro had hit 9 straight. He's now missed 2 consecutive shots. He still has 20 points. Robinson's got 21. Charles Barkley outside with 16.
Well, you know, if there's anybody on the floor for the Suns that's not afraid to take a shot that you think is unusual, it's Charles Barkley.
That is just the second 3-point shot taken by the Suns and hit tonight. Barkley almost knocked it away. Avery Johnson. And there's a steal by Kevin Johnson to Elliott Perry. More speed for the Suns.
Boy, they're trying some real, very risky passes in there.
A.C. Green. Big rebound by Will Perdue. He's got 8.
2 7-footers blocked that one. David Robinson and Will Perdue. And the rifleman right between the eyes with a 3, and Person's got 9.
Spurs aren't letting up.
No, they're not only not letting up. I'm watching the spirit of Will Perdue, and you can see he is very animated in trying to get his team to get over, get A.C. Green, come and help.
Barkley's got 18.
And barking at his team to come on and let's play, which he should do, but he's playing by himself at this point.
Avery Johnson to Del Negro. Del Negro is gone. 10 of 14, 22 points. He's averaging 14 a game. Perdue on Tisdale. And he was held, and Chuck Person was fouled, and Barkley got it. He's got 4 personal fouls. The Spurs on top, 88-69.
The NBA playoffs, Hawks, Pacers, tomorrow at 8 on TNT.
Have a sitting near the bench of the Phoenix Suns is that Charles Barkley will take his emotions out as you look at some of the scores with Orlando beating Detroit 112-92.
On our Chevrolet scoreboard, a tie game early on at the United Center. And there you see what follows on TNT, Sacramento against Seattle.
This is Sacramento's best opportunity. I think in 5-game series, the first game is the best opportunity for any underdog to win. There's only been one beat in 8. That was when Seattle lost to Denver. But this is the best opportunity when you don't have Sean Kemp on the floor. Maybe the team is a little disrupted.
But playoff-wide, is it always the best opportunity for the underdog, that first game?
The first game, yeah, because what you can possibly do is catch the favorite slightly looking ahead, particularly when you look at 1 and 8, because that seems to be a much more disparate finishing position as opposed to 4 or 5 or anything else.
Barkley. Will Perdue with another rebound. He's got 10, and he's got the double-double.
But more importantly, he takes a lot of pressure off of David Robinson to have to get rebounds. They had the rebound champion of last year, Dennis Rodman, who's no longer here. Will Perdue is filling that position along with Chuck Person and Charles Smith admirably.
Person feeds Robinson, who's got 23. 1:34 remaining in the third quarter. Barkley. Rebound by Robinson. He's got 5. Avery Johnson is on the move. Doc Rivers. And they'll play a little half court with 1:20.
They got a mismatch with Person inside with Kevin Johnson. Oh, my goodness, what a good find.
Will Purdue with 13 points.
This is the clinic. And at this point, Cotton Fitzsimmons says, I've got to pull out all stops because his team is getting a clinic going against him.
Elliott Perry. Well, you concede the points to Elliott. Sean Elliott, that is, not Elliott Perry, and David Robinson. Where does Will Purdue come in? That's the thing that he was most worried about.
Anytime you're in a championship series or wherever it is, there's always an X factor. Tonight, it has been Will Purdue. Somebody else has to step up, and someone you generally don't expect to do that.
Spurs are shooting 65%. Make it 66%.
You're so quick with that math. Anybody can shoot when you're shooting layups like that.
A lot of points in the paints for the San Antonio Spurs tonight. Person who's got 1 3, but 7 misses from above the arc. Rebound by Barkley, knocked over Doc Rivers. Foul called on Doc Rivers.
You'll see Will Purdue. He'll come from the left side of your screen, hand coming right there. You see him just waiting to freeze himself. Chuck Person puts it on the dime. Will Purdue gets the finish. That's when you talk to Bob Hill. That's what he likes about it. The first thing he said about it, he knows how to play. He's intelligent, but he did say this about him. He was so accustomed to having played in the Chicago Bulls offense, that triple post, where the centers go from post to post, that they had to get that out of him because he's running the pinch post, which is where a guy slides up, throws a little backdoor pass. They had to get all of those things out of him. But I don't think they thought they'd get this kind of production that they've gotten out of him tonight.
Robinson checks out. Charles Smith checks back in. And what you have seen, Quinn, from San Antonio tonight, of course, it's only been about 3 quarters. This is the first game of a long playoff run. Do you see anything different about this team, that part of the champion you were talking about before the game?
What I see, and it's been really positive, this team has been aiming for the playoffs since the first regular season practice. And it's finally here. They were able to calm themselves down to come out here and play with some emotional control, which is really important.
Third quarter winding down. And they will finish off with Barkley and a court-length shot. The Spurs went 16 of 19 in the third quarter. And Vinny Del Negro led the way. The Spurs on top by 22.
Like all Americans, I like big things.
Spurs in that third quarter coming off their best playoff quarter shooting ever. 16 to 19, I'd say so.
Well, they were definitely warm, if you will, but a team that, first of all, you give the credit where it's due. I think San Antonio's played well. I've said this before. Phoenix has got to guard them. You let somebody score 40 points in a quarter, you don't have any chance to beat them. Phoenix last year averaged 110 points a game. They outscored you. They only averaged 106. But it's hard for you to counter that and score that many points this year. They don't have enough offensive weapons.
We start the fourth quarter with Doc Rivers taking it inside and dumping it off to Purdue, who's been a big story. Del Negro has been just as big.
At this point in what's going on with this game, Phoenix has got to play for some pride, because what you got to start playing to do is get yourself back into position and try to get you a win here on the next game when you play here on Sunday. That's got to be part of the concern that Cotton Fitzsimmons has to be trying to get his team to think about. See, the playoffs, it's just one game. It's one game. Take it to the basket strong. Charles does just not. It's one game, and it doesn't matter if you lose by 50 or if you lose by 1. It's one game, and you still got to make a team that's better than you on paper come out and play better than you in order for them to get a W.
Finley is out. We talked about that. How much of a role has that played tonight for the Suns?
Well, it's hard to say. Michael Finley has never played in a playoff game, so you don't know what his reaction to all of this would be. He's had a great year, whether he retired out. But I think he could have helped them some on Sean Elliott. He's good on the rotation. And when you double team down on Charles, which you haven't seen a lot of here tonight, Michael Finley may not make a jump shot, but he's good enough that he can go to the basket, penetrate, and he can dunk, get some emotional uplift for the Suns. They haven't had that, obviously, with him on the bench.
Barkley's got 22. Suns are shooting 40% from the field. The Spurs 64%.
Again, all night long. He's just waiting and he's patient. There are two places that are open when you double team on the block on the left side. It's one on the elbow, high on the right side, and in the corner. And all you've got to do is wait, because there's one man trying to guard two.
Elliott Perry maneuvers around Del Negro. Rebound by Smith, ahead to Del Negro. 3-on-3, and Vinny will slow it down.
Del Negro trying to take it to the basket. If you got a chance, Will Perdue is the guy. He's over here in the corner. This is a position that'll be open over there, and this one is another position. And now the defense, when you watch the double team, what you got, Charles has got to play two people. He goes to get Smith. Perdue breaks open. That's the position that anybody on that weak side is going to be in.
Del Negro with 24, 11 of 16 from the field. Manning tries to slash inside, met the defense of Smith. Foul called on Will Perdue, and following this game, that's his second, by the way, and following this game, we'll travel to the great indoors of the Key Arena in Seattle, Washington, where Dick Stockton, Chuck Daly, and Coach Versace are standing by. The Kings and the Sonics, game one. The Sonics finishing with the best Western Conference record.
The Sonics are really hard to play against, because they have two guys, and particularly Gary Payton, tenacious defensively, comes after, as you said, very likely got a chance at the Defensive Player of the Year award. Sean Kemp had a very good year in terms of numbers, double-double. They're active, but I still think Hershey Hawkins is what gets them what they need.
Chris Carr checks in for Phoenix. Number 43, you saw him. Now he's working on Chuck Person.
Chris Carr, like Michael Finley, a rookie, got a lot of minutes, particularly late in the year. Wanted to get him some minutes. A guy good on the blocks.
5 rookies on the Suns, a coaching change, all the injuries. It's been quite a season.
It's been a season, and I think it's been one that's been trying on all of the teams. As you look at Michael Finley, and that's Terrence Richard there, another one of the rookies sitting there on his right, from the former player from here in Texas. But it's hard to adapt when you have to make those kinds of adjustments. Most teams will get, if you will, their nucleus, and you put a player here, there by them. Well, their nucleus, part of that was going to be Hot Rod Williams, who you see sitting there with the knee, had hand. Charles Barkley has been in and out, and Kevin Johnson. That's hard to adjust to.
Spurs lead at 100-76. Now call on Chris Carr. Trying to set a screen for Kevin Johnson.
Well, that's just a play, and Cotton Fitzsimmons basically said, you got to play smarter than that. There's no sense to get a foul there. Just go there and stand in position. If KJ wants to use you, let him use you, but don't get yourself into position to be fouled. More importantly, Cotton is still coaching.
Again, Perdue inside.
But that's a heck of a pass by Benny Del Negro. They're catching the Suns. One of the problems you have when you have to double team anybody is that you can get forced out of position with a ball fake, and that's what's been happening with the Suns. They've been ball faked out of position, and then one of the guys being guarded by two of the guys, one of them guarding the other. You can't get it in.
Foul called inside on the Suns. Will Perdue has 17 points, a playoff high. The Suns trailing 102-76. .6-point lead by the Spurs. Here's tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. You can see what it's done for San Antonio tonight. Will Perdue, 17. Charles Smith has 4. They haven't needed Smith. They've also got 23 from Robinson, Del Negro at 24, but clearly the story, Del Negro and that man Will Perdue for the Spurs tonight.
Well, it allows the team to shoot 66% when you can get 56 points in the basket. I mean, in the paint. That's the real problem that they've created for the Suns is Will Perdue and the entire Spurs team. I just think they've been really active around the ball. But, you know, the Suns, they have done very well on the road. Their last 11 games, their last 14 games, they lost 11 of them. They're giving up 110 points, and they've only held opponents under 100 points 4 times. And if they can't score 100 points themselves, they're 3-23. None of that bodes well for them to have to play a San Antonio here in the first round.
Foul for a third time called on Chris Carr. Just came off the bench. 9:21, fourth quarter.
Charles Barkley's out trying to be aggressive. He's got 5 fouls.
Del Negro. Smith.
See, height doesn't get tired. Doesn't get tired. 7-footers, 6'11", and the 7-footer out there tapping the ball over a 6'5" guy's head. Can do it all day long.
Wesley Person knocks down a 3. That's his second of the night. He's 2 of 8 from 3-point territory. Chuck Person takes aim. Rebound by Barkley. He's got 11 rebounds in the double digits.
One of the things the Spurs have really done well is limit the number of shots that Kevin Johnson has gotten. He's only taken 6 shots. And that's what, when you talk to Bob Hill, he wanted to control Kevin Johnson. He's been able to do that by keeping him out of the paint, not allowing easy baskets by Kevin Johnson, and breaking down the defense.
Manning's got 11 points. Here comes Person getting it out to Smith, and Doc Rivers for 3. Barkley and Perdue fight, and it's off Perdue.
Charles is begging to try to get a foul call from the official, and the official is rightfully not giving him a call because Charles jumped backwards, and they're fortunate they even get the ball out of bounds through the Suns.
Kevin Johnson's been quiet tonight, just 12 points, 4 of 6 from the floor. Person again for 3. Chris Carr, look out here, folks.
Yeah, he can do that. He's athletic, can get there and do that. They haven't had enough athletic plays being made, and that's where they miss Michael Finley. But it's a shame when you have to depend on a rookie to make those kind of plays, but that shows you where the Phoenix Suns are in terms of the evolution of this team.
Spurs by 21. San Antonio has shot 63%. The Suns have shot 41. Suns might be looking at anybody right now.
The Coyote was doing good. I mean, he was catching passes. They were coming at him quick.
.25 left in the fourth. Fast break points. San Antonio 23-5. Phoenix had 41 wins this year. And you can see what...
That's an 18-game difference. Yeah. This is the first time since 1987-88 that they failed to win 50 games. They've always been able to get 50 wins.
Sean Elliott, triple team. Manning got a hand on the ball. They had Carr in front. I think Carr got it.
No, I think they may call that on Kevin Johnson. I mean, he had an option of 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the odd thing was he put up 4-3.
Yeah.
But by officials, they usually do it with one hand. I mean, take your foul. It's 34. He's not quite in the picture, so you come back. There's Carr. I'm still looking for that one.
Yeah, I know.
That's actually a pretty good play.
Manning got the entire ball, so obviously he wasn't there.
Yeah, but Kevin Johnson did hit the ball.
Right.
He hit it first, and maybe, you know, they figured that was a little bit of hand. But at this point, you see relaxing.
Will Purdue, and why not? He's had that kind of game.
He's had that kind of game. Giving a chance for a lot of their stars, if you will, for David Robinson to have a nice break. I mean, it's important to give breaks early in the series as you can, because that counts even late. You don't wear people out.
Manning is short. Barkley puts it in. 24.
What's amazing sometimes is you watch him get position on David Robinson, and he pushed David Robinson at the last second to be able to get that one. Avery Johnson is making sure, just what we've been talking about, make sure the fight stays in the team. He got it in David Robinson's face, because David has to be reminded periodically to stay with it. He is so gifted sometimes that he kind of, and I don't mean he loafs through it, it just comes so easily to him. And to keep the fire burning, Avery Johnson, who is a very close friend, was in his wedding, and someone he trusts implicitly to get after David and make him play harder or play hard all the time.
You would think the older and the more years he experiences in the league, the harder he would play.
Well, you have to grow into this. If you haven't been through it as a player at a very young age, sometimes it doesn't come for you. David Robinson didn't start playing until he was 14 years old. And then one day he grew from 6'5", and he looks up in the Navy, 7 feet tall, and he realized, I'm a pretty good basketball player. So this stuff is all starting to evolve for him.
6:15 running in the fourth quarter here from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Bob Hill was sharing a story that they were going to cut practice short only if David could walk on his hands, do a handstand from the baseline to the foul line. He did it. They ended practice.
Did it easily. I mean, this was not even a challenge.
Del Negro.
I cannot begin to tell you how difficult a pass that is to make. He threw it across the lane, bounced past it, and led Del Negro to the basket, and the Suns never got to it.
Kevin Johnson, 5 of 8, 14 points.
I really thought that's what they needed earlier.
I agree.
Was just to get him in, just let him make plays, little shots like that.
But they spent so much time getting Barkley involved early on, they almost forgot about Kevin Johnson.
Kevin's got the ball.
Elliott.
So to the degree that he can make a decision to get himself involved, he's got to do that. But I'll give him that he's got to do what the coach tells him to do, too. If you got the ball and you can beat your man, you've got to be able to make the play.
But you even wonder if that had been enough, because San Antonio is playing so well in so many different facets.
Most importantly, on the defensive side of the ball.
Barkley puts it in. He's got 26 points.
And David Robinson is laughing because Barkley actually got away with a little bit of an arm wrap, basically a hook.
Nice pass by Person back into Robinson.
Danny Manning's complaint was about 3 seconds. David Robinson caught the ball in the paint, and Chuck Person got it, and then he threw it back to him and was able to get the shot.
Phoenix will call time. Did David Robinson have another MVP-type season, or is anybody going to beat Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Spurs have it. Under 5 to play in the...
David is sensational on and off the court. The acronym for soft, I totally agree. Off the court, you're not going to find a nicer man in basketball. Yeah, he's diverse, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. He happens to be gifted and intellectually as gifted as he is athletically.
They also bring in Carl Herrera, who joins Del Negro, Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson.
Carl Herrera's had somewhat of an interesting career. You know, he played on the championship team with Houston, ended up coming here. His shoulder goes out, so they expected him to take the place that Charles Smith and Will Perdue basically have had. And he's coming here. He's had some personal problems with his family. And he's just starting to round into shape. So they're hoping to make some good use of Herrera here in the playoffs.
Mario Bennett comes in for the first time, and he is.
Another one of the rookies. And he's been injured for Phoenix. But at this point, Cotton figured, let's get everybody a little experience playing here. Gives ourselves a chance, or at least as we prepare to think about the next game. Because it doesn't matter how bad you lose. Offensive foul.
Barkley is on the bench for the Phoenix Suns. He finishes with 26 points.
That's basically don't wear him out. You got less than 5 minutes to go. You've got a game Sunday. Don't wear him out as David takes a rest. 28, 6, and 3. You'll take that all day from anyone.
Well, what makes that so good is the great performance by Will Perdue. 17 and 9.
Yeah, but you know what? I give Will Perdue his due. 28 points by David Robinson. You didn't see it. I mean, you don't see it coming in flashes, which says something about the way he can get it done.
Sean Elliott, mature.
He could 2 years ago he would not have been able to do that with the same sense of control.
16 for Elliott. Greg Anderson in the game for San Antonio. Tisdale. Rebound by Cadillac Anderson. We have a hot rod and a Cadillac in this game.
Hot rod and the Cadillac.
Carr with the rejection on Johnson. Elliott Perry left uncovered.
I watched Bob Hill because the one thing that he doesn't want to have happen here, you've got a game where you're in control. You do not want Avery Johnson to get hurt here. I mean, at this point, you don't want to run Doc Rivers a lot of minutes because of his age. But Avery Johnson is the guy who really stirs it for the Spurs. And they're bringing Corey Alexander off the bench. I'm telling you, the heart of Bob Hill went right down to his feet when he saw Avery Johnson go down.
Chris Tarr looking into Bennett, knocked away by Anderson. Here come the Spurs. 63% from the field for the Suns, 42% shooting tonight. Rebounding has not been a factor. 37-33, the Spurs, +4. Turnovers, not a factor. 10 for the Spurs, 10 for the Suns.
Suns with the makeshift lineup ran into a team that's been focused since day one. I mean, that's when you look at it and nail it. That's what this has been about. This team wanted to, from practice one, as soon as practice was over, one of the things, I mean, the regular season, one of the things Bob Hill was concerned about with his team, as you see Avery Johnson take that seat, is whether or not his team was going to be too hyped for this.
18 assists for Avery Johnson. That's Sean Elliott leaving. He finishes the game with 16 points. 7 of 9 from the field for Sean Elliott. Bennett.
Oh, good block
by Anderson.
Blocking the recovery. Don't come in here with that weak stuff now. You can come in here. You better have the big car out.
A big one.
Well, Cadillac said, this is my garage.
Corey Alexander gives to Monty Williams. Monty Williams takes it inside, is fouled. Well, there'll be no sleeping tonight in Seattle. The Sonics and the Kings coming up next. Kings just getting in. They were down to the last couple games of the regular season before they secured a playoff spot. Battling with Golden State. Denver there for a while. Sonics, it was a foregone conclusion. The question is for Seattle, the same that poses itself so clearly to San Antonio. Do they have the heart of a champion?
Well, they've got to get through the first round. I mean, especially for the last two, just to vindicate themselves for that. But they've seemed, and I'm talking about Seattle, to be in much more harmony because there don't seem to be as many distractions, and I think that may help. Even George Karl has talked about he's backed off the team a little bit to allow them to kind of get into their own little rhythm because George Karl admittedly has said he can overreact. And he's tried to stay away from that this year to help the composure of his team.
Defense by Williams and Alexander. Monty Williams, the former Knick, misses. Rebound by Carl Herrera. Here comes Del Negro again.
And you got it going, you got it going. Took first in the three-point shooting.
29 points for Vinny Del Negro. That's his second three-point shot.
Phoenix just goes back to the drawing board and try to figure out. See, you can do all the coaching you want about David Robinson if you let Will Perdue beat you. That's where the problem came in. Will Perdue got away, and Cotton Fitzsimmons has got to go back and talk to his crew about how do we keep the Will Perdues out of the game, control the Vinny Del Negros much more so. Because as we talked to Cotton today, that was as much of a concern as anything. Was not only handling David, but not being so concerned about David Robinson, you let Perdue and Del Negro get away from them, and that's exactly what they allowed to happen.
And they got to get Finley back.
I think Finley will really help them. I don't know, frankly, if he's going to be back. If the way it looks with Finley, and I'm obviously not a doctor, if he's not able to go on Sunday, you save him till you get home. You try to steal your one at home. All right, you get the first one, because all you want is the first one, and you need that to break whatever momentum the Spurs have. Then you get the second one, and you take a chance on Game 5, because a one-game series, not unlike the NCAA tournament, where a single elimination tournament is basically what you're into.
52 seconds left.
But as a coach, my first conversation is 120 points can't happen. Just cannot happen.
Cotton Fitzsimmons told us he's got to sell defense to this team, and they just have not bought it.
I think they've bought into it better, but what they haven't been able to buy into it with this group of people, because this group is so different.
Chris Carr, the rookie from Southern Illinois.
I'll tell you what, that was all arms. This kid's got a wingspan of 7'3". He's about 6'4". That was an all-arm dunk.
And he can jump. Williams against the can he defend? Did a pretty good job that time against Monty Williams.
You look at the San Antonio team we talked about at the top. When they get you down, will they bury you? They buried this thing. Today, first game, they buried the Suns. Now the Suns have to unearth themselves for Game 2.
The San Antonio Spurs shoot 62%. They get 29 from Vinny Del Negro, 17 from Will Perdue, David Robinson.
It's your birthday.